Hello. Hi. Hello. It's me, the local virtual baker, Saltea Kichee. Hello. Oh, I gotta tell you the truth here, lads. First and foremost, hi. How are y'all doing today? I am feeling not so great right now, but I couldn't not do this. You know what I'm trying to say. Today, we are making some bread, but it's bread that is for, the ultimate VTuber feast, I believe it's called? I think that's what it's called. So, that's kind of the fun thing of what this is for. Miss Doll, I chat with her sometimes. Miss Doll, she had invited me into this little event with other food tubers as well. So, so there was a few small food tubers and such. Food tubers? VTuber cooks. V-cookers. Once more, I'm just going with the presumption that you just know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. Surely you do. Good? Okay, good. Okay, you know, everyone's making their own thing. It's just for myself, I am making bread. There's a few people making other sort of things. Hold on, I think there's a little list here. And I'll post this onto the screen so you can all get a better visualization and maybe check out the other creators as well. But our little thing here is that we're just making food and we're just showing off how we would present our own ways and things that we present onto our Thanksgiving meals. And you of course know what I would bring whenever it comes to Thanksgiving and whatnot. Come on, I have to bring the bread. I even have to convince my parents to stop buying bread. And it's like, it's not like that the bread they get is bad, because it is quite good. However, I make better bread, and it's cheaper, so. Anyways, I have my thing here today. I think we have time slots. This is why I'm really bad for collabs. I did not set a time slot or whatnot, but I am making dinner rolls, or more specifically, I am just making bread. I'm making kind of an all-purpose bread. I'm making sourdough as well. I'm just kind of making bread that you would want during Thanksgiving. So yeah, it's very easy, very simple. There's no sort of complications in this mess. But yeah, this is all very straightforward. This is all very simple. And if I can do this in literally 2 hours, 1 hour, then I think that anyone, if you're in a pinch and you need some bread, you can make this. So there's that. But also, this is also my recipe. Fun stuff. Woo, my recipes. Woo. But I am doing, what is it? I'm making bread, making knots, making rolls and stuff like that. But I'm gonna try and make them a little bit more fun than your average dinner roll, just because I'm extra, and I like putting a little bit more oomph into what I make. So, as you can see right over here behind the fest thing, we have our things to bake, and to talk about something that you may or may not see if you can use your eyes, I have made the dough beforehand, because making the bread beforehand, it's gonna help with the flow, alright? But I will tell you that this recipe is, once more, if you go to my YouTube channel, in the description there, and it should have my documents to where you should see all the bread recipes I make and whatnot, yada yada yada, shilling myself out. Bread. Easy bread recipes. But this is like the bottom of the barrel of this is like stupid easy. Like, this is dummy easy to make. It's simple, it's straightforward, and above all else, it tastes good when you make it right. So, Oh, and the thing is, this is also very low maintenance. You don't have to knead it, you don't have to do overnight stuff. I literally just mixed this dough an hour beforehand, let it set, and now it's risen. So we're gonna get right into the kitchen in just a moment here and start to get into the baking and shaping of it, which I think is probably the more important part here. There we go. That should be good. Hopefully. We'll see. Oh, that's good. Okay, so I have been making bread for Thanksgiving for quite some time at this point. For Thanksgiving, at least. When it comes to Thanksgiving and all that whatnot, my parents would usually buy the dough and buy some bread and whatnot. But ever since I've been able just to make it myself, it's also cheaper for them because they don't have to buy bread and also don't have to worry about going to go buy said bread. So there's that. Meanwhile, I don't know. I just bake bread. I just do the thing, you know? Alright, hold on. Hi there, Mahler. Hello, hello. But yeah, all this silly nonsense I kind of threw out of the window today, just because I'm feeling a little sick, to say at the very least. So there's that. But also to expedite and actually show you some more important technique, if you will. Kneading the dough, mixing the dough is kind of the easy part. So things that require a bit more technique is what I'm going to do with this bread. So I'm gonna first flour my dough just because it'll be a lot less sticky. I didn't add enough flour, so. Yep. Yeah, this is a very good like bread recipe I've made. Just because of the dough itself, it's very friendly to those who aren't very experienced with making bread and whatnot. It's my all-purpose bread recipe. It's very easy to make, low maintenance. And I mean, the hardest thing about it is that it probably is a little wet. But despite that, I probably could just change the recipe. And I might have to do that just because I like to make my breads as entry level as possible for people to understand. So that's like the big thing I try and do when it comes to my bread recipes and whatnot. It's actually been a big thing about when I've been making my bread recipes. I want to make them as dumb, as easy, as simple to follow as possible, just because I believe that if you want good bread, you should be able to make it with very low maintenance. And I kind of made all my recipes based on that. There are some recipes that are a bit more high maintenance, things that require a bit more maintenance, as I keep saying. But those are because those are breads that are very, very complicated to make, such as brioche. That's high maintenance, it has a lot of fat, it has a lot of flavor and all that whatnot that you have to worry about. But I believe it is worth it in the end. But that's also brioche. Brioche is such a luscious, fluffy, soft, delicious bread. But again, it is kind of a sucky thing though, just because of how my recipes are written out. They're written in grams, and if you're from the great US of A, you know that we only use freedom units, so perhaps I should change them to ounces and whatnot. But listen, there's a new thing on your phones nowadays to where you can do conversions and stuff. So like, you guys can do it yourself. And maybe one day, if I get real bored, I'll just try to make the conversions myself. But yeah, we'll see. I believe Miss Dollops herself today, though, who coordinated this whole event with other YouTubers and such. I believe she's streaming today as well. She is making the grand feast, the centerpiece of all sort of Thanksgivings, and that I believe she is making the turkey. So that's fun. It's always the biggest responsibility. I think that's also kind of it is a big responsibility because like a bad turkey can either make a turkey can just either make or break your Thanksgiving. You know, it can either be the best Thanksgiving turkey that you ever had, or the most dry, sad, or maybe something that would even get someone sick. You know, it really does depend. You know, very, very dependent on the turkey. Now, I will go and say something because I know it's kind of odd. I'm only making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 rolls here. Yes, you are in fact correct. Very observant that you are. I do feel the need to tell you that I have a lot more bread to worry about. Yeah, like I want to make enough bread for my family because I believe that I think there's gonna be like my bread mom, bread dad, the sis, and I think I have some other people coming. Which is like, okay, so each person has 2 breads each, 2 rolls each. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and etc. I only have half what I need, you know? But that's where the other breads I have come through. And that's also the reason why I'm not really too worried about, oh, I'm making enough, or oh, I'm not making enough. At the end of the day, I'm making enough bread just to give a bit more variety, you know? But speaking of sourdoughs and other breads like that, I actually need to start working on that too. Multitasking. The sign of a good baker? Yes? I'm not sure. I'm not a good baker, so I can't really judge too much on that. I know some people say that, but I don't know. I don't see myself as a good baker. Well, I see myself as a good baker, but, you know. So, just as with the other dough, this dough has been made a few nights. Oh, geez. Actually, that's not really necessarily a bad thing. Making a sourdough like a few nights ago, it just means it's gonna have a more intense sour flavor to it. You know those recipes telling you that you should at least do it at minimum, like, what is it? 1, 2. One to 2 nights. Technically, if your refrigerator is cold enough, you should be able to. You should be able to do an overnight proof for maybe several days. Okay. Okay. I feel like I need to always do something really different with my scoring. But like, I don't know, I just like a nice simple slash, you know? It's simple, gets the job done, and everyone can recognize that, hey, that's a beautiful slash, you know? That I'm also admittedly not really good at doing good scores. Honestly, the bread part is never the issue when it comes to painting for myself. It's always the thing about trying to make it look pretty, or the design, or something like that. You know? You know? Why am I saying you know? Yeah. Kind of silly how that's just flipping out. I'm flipping. But like, that's just being the constant word today. Like, did you know? 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 Did you know that I'm talking too much? Here we go. Let's talk about these dinner rolls, right? Because, you know, at the end of the day, I could just say, this is the dinner roll. That's it. Bake it as is. There we go. That's our bread for the day. But no, we're going to have a little bit more fun with these. We're going to try and make them look prettier. We're going to turn them into knots, essentially. So, yeah. So, to make them into much more prettier looking knots, the first thing to do is to kind of roll them out into like little thin logs first. Gonna be doing that. Roll these boys out, making them into nice little thin logs here. And I'm trying to make sure that they're nicely floured. All the way, nicely floured and all that whatnot. It's actually fine for this kind of recipe. It's not really too much of an issue of like, oh, it's too wet or something like that. But it's actually kind of nice if they're highly floured, because when we start rolling them, they don't stick as much. Sorry, not rolling, knotting. So the first one I'm going to do is going to be a very simple knot. It's just a single knot. You just kind of tie it once and there you go. That's a single knot. But since this boy is quite long, I'm actually going to do a double knot because I think those look nice as well. So instead of just doing one knot like that, you actually want to go on the real tail end here, like almost 1/3 of the way through. Put it through the knot once. Throw this into the bottom. But then you want to go in again and again, and then you get a double knot like this. This is actually pretty much how you make a Kaiser roll. So if you want to ever make a Kaiser roll, that's how you make a Kaiser roll. I'm gonna actually just roll it out again, just because I'm a perfectionist like that. So one roll into that, another roll, and then tuck the tail in under like that. And there you go. Kaiser roll. Or a double knot. So I'm gonna put that to the side. Yeah, my perfectionism squeaking through. I'm not exactly the most happiest with the result. Just made it so hot in my apartment today. Alright. There we go. That's a single knot. I've turned it into a single knot. There we go. This one I'll turn into a double. So I'm just going to be rolling it out. And there we go. I'm going to dust it in a bit of flour. Make sure it's nice and even all the way around. And there we go. Oh, I'll let it roll it out a bit more. Okay. Under, over, and then over, under, and up again. There we go. That's a better double knot right there. A lot better. Now there is another knot. This is my favorite kind of knot to make. I'm not sure if it's actually called this one, but when I was going to my vocational school, tech school. I went to a tech school about cooking before I actually went to a culinary college. They taught us this one called the figure eight. And this one looks pretty, although can be a bit complicated to do. So this one requires a really long one, so I'm just going to make sure this guy is real long. And here we go. So I get one end, and you essentially want to have a little head right here. You then want to wrap the first side to your knuckle, around the head, and then go under and then over. It's almost like a single knot, but it's a little bit different, and I think I did it right. Yeah, I did. Okay, hold on, wait. I gotta remember how to do this now. It's been so long since I've done a figure eight. I don't really make dinner rolls anymore. To be 100% honest with you. Oh, there we go. It's a figure eight right now. How did I do that now? Okay, so this, wrap it around the head twice, and then go through the loop once. And then you have this sort of figure eight sort of shape. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much my plan now with this ordeal. Personally, I really like doing figure eights just because they have a better presentation to it. They look prettier too. So, what's a nice way to show off to your guests? Making sure that your simple things are great and done perfect. Making sure that your basic things are done nicely. It's really important with this kind of bread, though, just like most breads, that you don't taper the ends too much. There we go. Another figure eight right there. And what tapering really means, it just means to make sure that the ends aren't really... Well, let me intentionally taper this one, because it's a weird, round, smaller one. This is what it means for tapering. Like getting like real like corner edges like that versus getting a nice kind of almost uniform sort of look like this, you know? Alright. Around the head, twist it, and then in the tail, up, down, under. There you go. Flour. Head around and fold it over. Yep. Now I do understand that if this one, the figure eight, is a bit more complicated, hey, there's no shame in going with just a single knot. Or heck, if you don't even feel like doing a knot, the best thing to do if you're feeling real lazy, do this. Just kind of pinch it all together on one point, like this, until you get one little ball like this. And then just put these side by side, and then you'll get a whole set of dinner rolls. It's always the next best thing to do. If you don't feel like putting in as much effort as what I'm doing, hey, there's no problem. There's no shame in not doing that. one more figure 8 here. Oh, I'm actually, you can't even see me doing it here. Let me actually try and do this on this camera here. So, hold that, and go like this. There you go. No, I'm gonna just do that a few more times, just because I didn't realize that my camera did not pick that up. Alright, so, I'm gonna do that a few more times now. Yep. It's a fun thing to practice too. It's not exactly a hard thing to do. Fold, flip, push. Will admit and say though that this bread is, I do now feel it is a little wet. I might have to change the hydration, which isn't too much of a hard thing. Just less flour, or less water, or less flour, or more flour. So here we go. Yeah, I remember that with my, I guess my vocational school that taught me this. It was always real funny because this was like one of my favorite things to do. Like there was knife skills that we had to practice and other things and whatnot, but usually my biggest and most favorite thing to learn was actually just making knots and rolls and all that whatnot. That was my favorite thing to do. But however, my knife skills kind of surpassed anything I could do. Surpassed my Bred skills. So it's kind of a shame that they were kind of neglected, and they're like, hey, you might like this, but you're better at this, so we're gonna push you to do this more often. Which is kind of what happens, but at the same time, I think it probably is for the better. Worst comes worst, I can always teach this stuff to myself. And, well, I've kind of done that. Yeah. Oh, hi there, FPS. I haven't seen you in a bit. Hello, welcome in. I'm just doing some simple bread knots today. Trying to get ready for Thanksgiving. Here, I'm just gonna do something silly with this one, just because it doesn't really matter what I do with it. I mean, I could try and do like
Try not to get scared. Scariest stories. Wow, I can't find a perfect movie, I says. Then I saw it. The Creature feature. Featuring The Creature.
Oh dear God, the Creature feature. Spooky. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of great, if anything. Yeah, I just got this little boy of dough. I don't really know what to do with him. And I'll just kind of roll him into just a little sphere. I'll just make one small dinner roll. Not everything needs to be incredibly fancy, I guess. And voila. Round. So, I could bake these right away. With most bread recipes, I would like to bake them, let them rise for a little bit. And it's not like I'm not gonna let them rise. Of course, wait, hold on. You guys are a little messy. I gotta fix you guys up. There we go. Okay, what was I talking about? Sure beats me. Anyways, well, speaking of whatever I was talking about, the sourdough is almost done. I just gotta take the cover off right now. cover off, and now we have to let that bake and get some good color for the next 5 minutes. There we go. That is pretty much our bread knots for the day. Which is really funny, just because bread always has this thing of like, oh, bread is so hard to make. It's so difficult to make. Yeah, it's very, very easy to make bread. It's very, very simple to make bread. It just depends on, I don't know what the word would be. It depends on patience, I guess? I'm not sure. I don't really know what the biggest, like, hurdle when it comes to bread making and whatnot is. Some people might think it's the technique. Some people might think it's the baking part. I mean, I'm very amateur, but people think I have like really amazing, beautiful bread, even though in the grand scheme of it all, my bread's very simple. It's nothing complicated. It's just, for the most part, very straightforward recipes, and it's easy. I'm a very unintelligible person, and a very stupid person at that. The most things I have is good hand-eye coordination, which I guess is the thing that stumps most people. Good hand-eye coordination. But making bread is very simple. You just gotta mix the dough, wait, mix the dough again, wait again, punch your bread, wait again. It's a lot of waiting. I guess that's pretty much the big thing. Just because, oh, I want my bread and I want it now, you know? I guess that's kind of the main mentality when it comes to it all. But like, with bread, you do have to have at least a minor set of patience. And although that I have a horrible sense of patience, and I also do have the tendency to walk off and completely forget what I'm doing, for some reason, my instinct, I have a really good sixth sense when it comes to bread. Like, just then and there, when I went to go look at my watch to go see if my sourdough was done, I kind of didn't even need to look at it, because it was literally like 5 seconds away before my alarm was gonna go. I just kind of had that feeling, the sense, and it's like, you know, I think the bread's almost done. I look at my watch and it's like, oh, well, it is done. So, it's like a weird sixth sense, you know? You know, people say they have their sixth sense and they see, like, ghosts, or they see something out of the human mind and comprehension. For me, my sixth sense is just knowing when the bread's done. So, I don't know. It's strange. It's very weird. Oh, I also just nearly forgot. This is actually one of my very, very few bread recipes to where it is very much preferred, not required, to use an egg wash. If you don't know what an egg wash is, I'm sorry you lived under a rock for so long. I hope your family has been feeding you well. But an egg wash is essentially just something that adds color to your bread or pastry or whatnot like that. Seriously, I don't think I need to explain what an egg wash is. If you have no idea what an egg wash is, you're more sheltered than me. And, well, we don't need to explain that. There we go. Just need to beat up an egg. Beat it up, take its money. And, a pot of fun right here. Got my little brush. Now, if you're really stuck, let's say you don't have a brush, that is completely fine if you don't have a brush. Because you know what's the next best thing you can use? A napkin. Like a paper napkin. Because there was a time, actually no, there wasn't a time. It was during my college time. Because even when I was in college, I would still try to manage making bread. Why was I like this? Why would I make bread during college? I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. There's many things, but I still don't know why about that. Anyways, you could use a paper towel. Like this. It's just, you're just trying to coat, because at the end of the day, what you're trying to do you're just trying to coat this in egg wash so it's evenly coated to get enough color and all that whatnot. So there's that. We're gonna let it go for another 3 minutes. Ooh. Yeah, it's a beautiful looking bread, but needs a little more time in the oven. Ugh. But I will say that there is a specific kind of look when it comes to bread for me. I mean, for this brush, this makeshift brush, if you will. So the first thing you're gonna do is get your paper towel, cut it in half, and then cut it in half again, and you'll make this like sort of makeshift bristles over. Sorry, I'm being very pedantic with it. Oh, actually, I just realized. I'm gonna take the bread out right now. Just because I kind of just remembered that, oh yeah, I am gonna probably reheat this bread. If I let the bread just kind of cook even more, it's going to be a lot more dark than I would like it to be. So with that, here we go. That's our sourdough bread right there. Delicious. Beautiful looking even. I'm actually kind of surprised at how much the ear grew off. Oh my God. Beautiful. Let's get a little taste of the crumb here. You just can't go wrong with a good sourdough. When you make bread right, when you just make bread right, and you let it ferment for such a nice long time, it gains this like nice, almost nutty, sweet sort of flavor to it. So, here we go. Beautiful looking lad. Alright, that is now set and tucked away. And now, I guess we just have to finish this stuff up. The bread dinner rolls. The dinner rolls of bread? Just the dinner rolls. That's what. So yeah, just to show, this is kind of a makeshift sort of, like, hold on, let me check. And we could let them let a little bit more time to rise. Some of them are ready to go, but some of them do need a touch more time. So I think we'll just try and let them do her thing for a little longer here. So yeah, we're gonna wait a little longer, and then we'll actually bake off the bread. We'll only need probably like maybe 30 minutes to let it rise. It's quite warm in this apartment today, so just getting it a bit more rise right now. Whoa, shoot, that sucks. Hold on there, lad. Hold on there. That's stupid. Oh, some vermin. Oi! Oi! What are you doing here? At least it's not a cockroach? Oh, hey there, friend. I don't know where you came from, but you know where you're going, right? You're going to a one-way trip down the garbage disposal. A one-way free trip down the garbage disposal. I hope you're ready. Get down in there, buddy. Because it's a one-way trip. Bye-bye. This. How annoying. Well, Now I just kind of have to clean off that little area now. Ugh, I hate little bugs like that. I'm not sure what it exactly was. It looked more like a silverfish than anything else. Still, vermin is vermin, and if they can just not just unexist, be great. Pineapple still. Oh, there's a lot of stuff I actually just have in this cabinet here. Oh. Where are my poppy seeds? That's the main thing I'm looking for now. Not vermin. Yeah, nasty. But I wanted some poppy seeds. How do you guys feel about poppy seeds with your guys' bread? I'm not sure if there's a very popular, unpopular opinion of them, but I usually hear not positive things about them. They're not exactly the best kind of thing that people sought after, I guess. I often hear people go like, oh man, it's just so crunchy and the texture is weird and all that whatnot. It's a huge texture thing to my knowledge, but I don't know, I think it's quite nice. It's good. I kind of appreciate the texture, it's quite good. But I do get the idea that it does get, how do you say, on certain things, it's not always the best. That, and also if you're trying to go in for a drug test, you probably want to avoid using it because I believe poppy seeds are used to make heroin? So to be honest, I don't really know the authenticity of that thing. I'm not sure how true it is. So, hey, heads up, if anyone ever needs to go in for a sort of, needs to go in for a, a drug test, make sure you don't eat anything with poppy seeds. You often hear that poppy seeds can be picked up, so once more, I don't know the authenticity of that statement. Well, there's not much I really can do, so I actually would rather take myself over to go take a nice seat. So let's go take a seat now. Ow. Alright, welcome over, chat. And oh my god, that camera's brightness is so dumb. The day that I get a better camera. I don't know how to get a better camera. More or less, I don't know where to get a better camera. I guess right now we're just gonna play with, camera settings. It's kind of funny actually, because it just looks like I'm flashbanging you lads. You guys don't mind that, do ya? You don't mind me just casually flashbanging yas? Oh, that's weird. Ooh, so fun. Ugh. You can really see the you can really see the grime. Ugh. Maybe I just need better lighting, really. I'm not sure. Ooh, wait, chroma keys. That would be funny. Not sure what the chroma keys would be used for, but... Opacity? Oh, I can do that too. That's fun. Ooh, we can make color freaky as well. Fun, fun. Yeah, I think I just need to get a better camera at the end of the day, no? Getting a good camera to get good footage to bake. The dream. The only thing one lad can dream. I definitely gotta clean the oven though. Sorry, I'm kind of just casually scrolling down my blue sky. I can't help it. It's the zoomer stuff, you know? The zoomer stuff inside my head. Can't help it. Actually, wait, let me see. Can I make the visuals better by just turning this off? No, not really. What if I just go night mode? Oh, that's not really there. Lighting, why are you so confused? Lighting, why are you so confusing? Why don't you make any sense? I hate lighting. The lights, they just never work. They just never want to work. Audio slash visual? Ooh, wait. No, wait, no, that's just video. It's audio. Can't do that. Hi, Lung. Hello. Yeah, it's a shame. I really want to show you this bread, because it does look a lot nicer than what my camera's putting it out to be. But that's kind of generally the rule of that's just kind of how it is generally, no? Oh yeah, the thing doesn't look that grand, but when I show you the thing, it looks a lot better. But I guess if anything, we can do a little talk and chat for now as we let our bread rise. I guess if anything, I can talk about what happened the past few days. That being my food poisoning I've had. Oh boy. Is bread easy to make? Yes. Bread is stupid easy to make. Anyone can make bread. It's just that you require a lot of patience, and that's it. Bread is easy to make. It's really easy to make. I'm doing this right now, and I am still recovering from my food poisoning. Like, my head's lightheaded. My body wants to die, and I want to go sit on the porcelain throne. But boy howdy, do I still want to make bread. It does not stop. The grind doesn't end. The only thing being ground here are the wheat berries to make the flour. All right. There is no stopping. There is nothing. I don't even want to hear anyone ever say, "Oh, bread's too hard to make," because that is a dumb excuse. There are some things where it's like, "Oh, brioche is hard to make," or challah is hard to make because of braiding. And you know what? When you say stuff like that, Fair. Very fair. But when you go to say that all bread is easy to make, that just does all bread's hard to make. That's where I stop the line and go like, you are impatient, because it requires very minimal effort to get bread done. How did you get food poisoned? Okay, so I did a baking stream with my good friend Mipyun. She's a Twitch streamer, and we did a bread baking collab, and I made focaccia. The focaccia turned out nicely. That's not the problem there. What is the problem of what happened is when I actually baked it and then decided to make a chicken sandwich. Now, granted, cooking chicken is not a bad thing, but the way of how I cooked this chicken was so dumb, and in hindsight, I don't know why I even did it, because this is how exactly I cooked my chicken. First of all, this is frozen chicken that I had thawed out a week ago, so that's already a bad start. The chicken is almost a week old from being frozen, so I really should have just thrown it out. But it's like, it's just chicken. So I don't, and at that point, it's just like, okay, let me just throw it in the oven. And I threw it in the oven when it was cold, which isn't an issue, but then I immediately turned it off and then turned it back on. So the cook time for this chicken was probably like an hour. And at that point, I probably just got myself an easy way to salmonella, because a lot of time, like, it probably was fully cooked. It tasted fully cooked. It was dry enough to be fully cooked. But at the same time, it was still so old. And I was like, oh, I'm so hungry and I don't have any other food to eat right now. So it's just like, well, might as well just partake in a bit of chicken. I don't remember when I pulled it out, but it's not that bad. Little did I know, the next few days I would start feeling like a king from how long I would be sitting onto my porcelain throne. It's not fun. It was painful. My goodness, I've never had such an intensely painful experience that was so draining on the body. I tried sweating myself out, but I couldn't get hot enough to sweat myself out. I couldn't drink enough water because I didn't have the ability to want to drink anything. My body wanted to eat food, but at the same time, there was so much stuff exiting my body that it was hard to actually get anything down. And by the same proxy, medication didn't really work too well because it would come back up. So, to say at the very least, my first time having food poisoning, I'm now a little bit more cautious about how fresh my food is. Oh my god, that was horrendous. That was horrible. That was bad. And although I know my focaccia was fine, the focaccia was not something to be, oh, it was focaccia's fault, blah, 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 blah. I can't, my mind was like, no, you can't eat that. It's not the problem, it was the chicken. But you cannot eat that. I started to like almost dry cough when I saw the focaccia, to where it's like, oh geez, I feel sick when I look at it. So it's like, I just had to throw that out, unfortunately. And I hate throwing out food, but it's like, I'd rather just not make myself do the mental semantics again. So yeah, that was my first time ever getting food poisoning. It was not fun. It was not fun. And now makes me a lot more paranoid about cooking food correctly. Just because, like, since I work in the food industry, there's very often times where it's like, oh, you want to make sure you're not cross-contaminating and this and that. And trust me, I never really have or had gotten into a situation where it's like, oh, it might be a little raw or whatnot. Especially with chicken. Always overcook chicken. It's fine. Well, don't overcook it, but cook it enough. Anyways, it just makes me a bit more on edge of like, oh geez, that experience of getting food poisoned was horrible. So I can only imagine what would happen if you gave that to a customer. Oh geez, that would be bad. On the bright side, I had soup. I had soup in the past few days, and that was nice. I had to really force myself to make soup because I had nothing else to cook. Nothing else to cook. yesterday, the day prior. Well, I haven't just actually been able to go shopping at all, just because I'm trying to save money right now. So I'm trying to not spend any money on anything, which I know sounds bad on paper. Like, oh my god, you're not eating, you're not spending money on food, And to that answer, yes, I have not been doing that. However, I have been able to take a bit of vegetables here and there from the job. I ask my job, they say yes, and then I take it and I go do all that whatnot, and that's fine. Leave it at that. But I don't have much variety when it comes to like getting actual food, if you will, you know? In the sense of like, what's the word? Hold on. Vegetables. I usually just take a bit of garlic and maybe one onion for my job, and that's really it. So I don't really have, you know, cabbage or any of that whatnot. I get carrots because I have just carrots just sitting in my refrigerator, but I don't really eat anything nutritious in that regard. And it's kind of making me do a wake-up call of like, yeah, I need to actually start caring about my body and health. So there's that. Now, granted, that is a bit costly. My god, it's so expensive to go do grocery shopping nowadays. But, I might just have to start getting frozen stuff. Who knows? Frozen's better than nothing, at least. And, I don't know. Just gotta get from a good brand, I guess? Either way, on the bright side, although I am still poisoned, I am still managing. I'm still on my feet. I'm still alive, more importantly. Not gonna lie, that entire experience, I thought I was gonna die. I thought it was curtains. I thought it was over. And especially since I don't have any means to get to a hospital. None of my family lives close to me to where they could help me out. If I get really hurt out here, I'm dead where I stand, which is kind of scary now to think of it like that. But like, yeah, no, I thought like, oh, this is it. I'm dead. There ain't no coming back from this. I'm just dead. I'm just dying here today. I am dead. But lo and behold, I survived, and here we are. I didn't realize, but also during my delirium, if you will, my apartment is in such disarray. There's wires everywhere. There's pillows thrown astray. Sheets are just thrown everywhere. My kitchen didn't really take too much damage, but like a lot of water is everywhere. I'm still trying to gain it back, but my hand-eye coordination, bad. It's very bad right now. Like I try to pour myself a glass of water and I miss the glass. So yeah. Things are very sketchy, if you will. Alright, well, enough talking about that. I think it's plenty enough time that we get to the baking. Yeah, but isn't this fun? Yeah, the bread looks nicely relaxed. We're good to go, and here we go. Using my silly way, if you don't have a brush. See? Look at that. It works completely fine. So yeah, if someone says, oh, I don't have the necessary material to make bread, once more, I don't think you're thinking outside the box here. Keep in mind, bread is like poor people food at the end of the day. As much as it's weird to say that, bread in history has been like the cornerstone of just everyone's diet, but mostly for the poor and all that whatnot. So, but to be fair, what I'm doing right now isn't really meant for the poor in this time age, I guess. During that time age, but more or less, to have more, I don't know, you just gotta think of it, I guess. I just gotta do what I'm not doing, just thinking. Egg washing is always kind of relaxing, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of like painting a canvas, if you will. It's just kind of just like painting. You're just lightly brushing some sort of material onto a canvas. And my canvas today is just some bread, so yeah. What was I talking about prior to this? Oh yeah, I was talking about poor people, I think? Yeah. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. Hey, I can't make bread like this. Oh, I can't make bread like you. Yes you can. It just requires a bit of patience, really. I don't care what anyone says, and this is the big thing, really. The reason why I guess I'm so good with bread is that I often forget about my bread, but I still have enough self-aware knowledge, I guess, that, oh yeah, I got bread to bake. So I guess it kind of just is just very coincidental stuff. But like, making bread is not hard. It's even better if you make it as a schedule. Bread is very schedule based of a thing to make. If you have a good schedule of bread, you can make good bread. And if you follow your schedule, you'll make really good bread. And now I'm just going to do a bit of sprinklage here. I'm just going to put some poppy seeds on some of these, and then some of them I'm just going to make naked. I'm going to dress some of them and have some of them in the nude. But yeah, I have no doubts in my mind that anyone, really, given enough patience, they could make bread like this. We're gonna throw that in for 10 minutes and see how it is afterwards, and we'll get right back to it. But yeah, I think the biggest thing when it comes to me saying like, oh, I'm not really that grand with bread and all that whatnot, the biggest thing when it comes to making bread, the biggest thing, it really is simply patience. I think that's probably the biggest thing when it comes to bread. Having a lot of patience, just kind of knowing what you're doing, which kind of comes second hand with making a lot of bread. But like, if I was able to kidnap someone in chat right now, like you, Mahler, if I kidnapped you in chat, Mahler, and I threw you in the kitchen, gave you a recipe, and told you what to do with bread, you would make bread that is pretty on par with myself. It's not hard to make. Bread is not hard to make. You just need proper guidance, proper timing, and that's really it. But timing and patience kind of go hand in hand with each other, so that's why I think making bread in that regard is very easy. But yeah, it's quite ironic for me to say like, oh yeah, it requires patience and patience and patience, just because for me, myself, I grew up having very minimal patience, very little patience, literally no patience really. But yeah, no. I kind of just gained patience from just... I just kind of gained patience, I guess? I don't know. I don't really have a reason or know-how like, oh yeah, I gained patience from whatnot and all that. But I eventually gained patience. To be honest, I don't actually know where my patience came from, because I do remember myself being a very, very impatient individual. Like, oh, I can't wait for this, I'm gonna do it now. Or like, oh man, I can't wait for this, I'm gonna do it now. For some reason, Bred really did... I really think it's Bred. I really think it's Bred and perfectionism, because they both kind of go hand in hand with each other. Just because in my head, I thought bread was stupid. I thought it was simple. I thought it was almost below me in that regard. Because it's so simple. It's such a basic thing. It's like cooking rice. Oh, you just cook the rice in the water, but then you realize there's a lot more nuance of it. Especially with bread. Like, there's a lot more nuance with rice, because it's like, oh, well, you gotta wash the rice, make sure it's clear, make sure you use the right kind of rice, and all that whatnot. But the nuance when it comes to bread, you kind of have to, just go slow. You just gotta take it easy. You just gotta take your time with it. Go nice, go slow, take your time with it, learn from the process, and most importantly, make the mistakes. Making mistakes is very important. If you don't make mistakes, you have nothing to learn from, I guess. I don't know. That means you're already good at it, then it's like, okay, cool, good for you, I guess. So yeah. Bringing cooking VTubers to love. Gotta love the UVF initiative. Yeah, it's one of my first times actually trying to push myself into like a big collaboration effort. It's quite fun. I don't know if I'm doing a good job with it, just because I've never done something like this before. But I do hope to do my peers proud. So I am kind of interested, because I believe Miss Dollops? I believe she's doing the turkey, more or less, no? I'm not sure. Doing a turkey is a great responsibility, I'll say it again. Because cooking a turkey is very hard. Wait, you wash rice? Cara Malone, are you French? Okay, hold on. I was about to go on a huge, like, heartfelt spiel, but now I'm calling you out, Cara Malone. What do you mean? What do you mean by this? Wait, you wash rice? Yes. You always wash the rice. The rice always need to be washed. What do you mean? Although I will say it depends on the rice, and it also depends on what you're making. You wash the rice because on the rice kernel, there's starch on it. And if you don't, and it also cooks it weirdly too. So if you actually wash the rice, it washes off the starch, it makes the rice cook more clean, and it doesn't stick and turn into a gloppy, overcooked mess. Isn't the starch good? Depends on what you're making. The starch on rice is good if you're making like if you're making like risotto. Completely different. If you're doing that, fair game. You're using the starch to help thicken the rice to make some sort of risotto. That's fine. That's just kind of how you make risotto. But if you're trying to make like rice, like just rice to eat, and if it's not really even the stickiness, it's just more the evenly cooking all of your rice. Because then your rice will coagulate, the starches will coagulate, stick to each other, and hinder the cooking of the entirety of the rice. So that's a big thing as well. Cook time, it just hinders cooking and also just overall texture and all that whatnot, so. Anyways. Sorry, I just got a little, I know that I'm a whitewashed Asian, but that little bit of Asian inside me really did want to kill you. Really did want to go feral for a second there. But also, I still have the poison debuff, so I'm not as loud as I could be. But anyways, here, let me go back to that thing. Yeah, so yesterday, someone made lasagna, and Daishima actually made a coconut chip pecan pie. Pecan or pecan? Pecan or pecan? I don't know. I say pecan because I used to say pecan because that's how I heard of it, but I say pecan because it sounds more fun to say. And also, it's a lot more. There's a lot more. It's a lot more pedantic, and it's fun to be pedantic sometimes. So I say pecan. But today, Sunday, Miss Dollops and another person whom I don't know is making mini pumpkin pies. I think I've already gave you my spiel of how I would make pumpkin pies, let alone my tips of making pumpkin pie. I don't know. It's easy to make. They're good to make. I like pumpkin pie. And mini pumpkin pies are probably the best thing to do because, mini pumpkin pies are probably the best things to make just because you don't have to worry about getting the first slice, and the first slice always will come out weird, so there's all that whatnot. So, you know. But yeah, it looks like Miss Dollops is actually making the turkey. That's a hard responsibility, and also I've heard, there are many ways to cook a turkey. I've heard there's a way to even deep fry a turkey. Like, there are people that make or have made turkey sort of vessels to fry turkeys in, and apparently that comes out perfectly. I've never tried it, just because that's a lot of oil and also very dangerous. And you also have to cook it outside, because if it does overflow, you don't want that in the kitchen. But you also need a big baking vessel and whatnot, so yeah. But let's see here. Yeah, there's so many ways to cook a turkey. The ways that I would want to cook a turkey nowadays is very unrustic, if you will, just because it's more of a not fine, but like more, how would you say? It's a more elevated, that's the word. It's a more elevated approach, because I don't really like getting the whole turkey and cooking it like that, because it's very uneven. Now, granted, you can cook your turkey like that, but more often than not, it's gonna cook your turkey into being very uneven and uncooked in certain parts. There's that. But cooking a turkey in the way I would, hold on, before I gotta go get the bread. Oh, it definitely needs more time. So how I would cook a turkey, I would spatchcock it. Spatchcocking is basically when you take the backbone of poultry, and then you kind of cook the entire thing. You take the backbone out, and you can evenly get a more even cook on the breasts and the thighs, but more specifically the breasts. If you overcook a breast, it will always be very, very dry. Cooking it to 150 and then letting it carry over to 165 is the most safest and best way to cook a turkey, because it will still be nice and juicy, but still be not dry as a bone, if you will. And it's actually really fine to overcook the dark meat, because that tends to be it tends to have more intermuscular fat. There's a little bit more leeway for all that, so there's a little bit more room for mistakes in that regard. But the breastbone, the backbone, the bone of the turkey is hard to take out. I mean, it's hard for the cooking of the turkey, because more often than not, your thighs are going to cook more than your breasts. So then making sure that you get rid of the bone, the breast gets more service with everything else, there's more coverage on it, all that. And also a big thing too, very big thing, it's much more easier to infuse the flavor into the turkey breast, because you'll have more direct contact with the breast meat itself. So yes. So yeah. There is that. How about fry the turkey? I haven't done that yet. Frying a turkey is very, very pedantic, I guess is the right word. Just because you need a lot of specific equipment for it. So yeah. That, and you also need a lot of oil, and you're already spending a whole lot of money and whatnot. I think it's a very southern thing, I think. But here in the north, we don't do that. Or at least I don't do that. Granted, I will say I would love to do that, because it sounds just really wicked. But, yep, lol. Yeah, I figured. Very southern. You know how the southerns do their thing. Bread smells good right now, though. It smells really good. You can't go wrong with this fresh scent of freshly baked bread. I think that's like the biggest thing when it comes to making fresh bread at home. Less of like, oh, you make good bread, but having that sensation of having that scent of freshly baked bread is undefeatable. It's just so simple, but it hits such a very specific craving as well, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a huge breadhead, a terminally ill breadhead myself. But listen, I think the scent... Going to a bakery, if you ever just go to a bakery and you smell all of that lovely fresh bread in the morning being baked, you can't help but try and buy them out of stock. Or like buy a whole bunch of bread to try, or croissants, or whatever they have, you know? Freshly baked goods are so undeniably delicious. You cannot defy them, you cannot deny them. They are good, delicious, no matter how you see it, they are great to have and eat. And smell. Smell. So yeah. My voice is getting kind of tired. I'm shocked. I'm actually kind of surprised even. Just because once more, I am debuffed from the poisoning I have, but still, it's like, I don't think the poisoning is this strong. I'm not sure. I'm probably gonna try and plan to go, I'm actually wanting to try and plan on grocery shopping tomorrow, so I hope I heal up soon. Let me heal up quick. Alright. Oh, okay, well, this might be our last time for Bred. And just like that. Alright, and just like that, I have bread made, bread baked, ready to be eaten, to be consumed even. Hold on, I actually did take a picture of the bread. So let me give you a better visualization of it. Bread. Visual quality sometimes defeats overall quality, you know? So yeah, the camera on the camera on the stream you see isn't that bad, but my phone camera can be a little bit better sometimes. Sometimes I think I just need to get like a burner phone, like a Galaxy or something, just so I can actually use that camera, because I believe their cameras are better now. But yeah, here are my rolls, my dinner rolls. You can see that they're defined sort of little knots and stuff, and this guy right here in the center, is kind of just more round, rotundual, but kept the shape very nicely. You'll have that little bit of shine, a little bit of color. So yeah. I would like to eat them, but unfortunately, I still have my little debuff, so I can't exactly tell you how they taste. But at the same time, we've made this bread actually very often. I just don't... I guess I don't tell you guys enough? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I tell you this enough. I don't know. But my stomach is still nodding itself. It's still in swirls, if you will. But yeah, that is... Well, that is pretty much my bit for this bit. That's pretty much my bit right now. My bread, my luscious 2, 4, 6, 8 rolls of bread. Okay, chat. Would you consider this a loaf or a roll? Would you consider a loaf a roll, or and vice versa, or just is it like a square and a rectangle ordeal? I'm trying to debate this with some pals here, like saying like, oh, a roll is considered a loaf, but a loaf is not considered a roll, and blah 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 blah. Anyways, oh geez, yeah, I think I know it's conveniently timed, and I think that's for the better because I kinda need to go sit down. My body isn't very much being very happy. So I think it's probably for the best. Let us go. Let us go. Hold on, wait. Yeah, let us go. We're gonna go. I think that's enough for today. Yeah, okay. I am done for the day. My body needs to go rest. I've exceeded I've exceeded what I could do. Sorry that the stream has to be so short, cut so short, but my body does not like me. Here is our raid messages on Twitch if you want to use them. And yeah, go support the rest of the creators. I do not know what their ats are. Check my Twitter and Blue Sky. Check the Blue Sky, check the Twitters, check my reposts. You'll see them there. Or go to who we're going to go raid today. We're going to go raid Miss Dollops, and she will probably give more information about the UVF. So yes, thank you all for tuning in today. I'm sorry that I kept so short today, but my body needs to go rest some more. So I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm glad I was able to at least show you a bit of bread making. So I hope you have fun. Maybe have a good rest of your day, morning, afternoon, and evening. Keep an eye out for streams. I haven't made a complete schedule. A lot of streams are going to be gorillas this week just because it's very unpredictable for me. But yeah, I will see you all around later. I hope you have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, and evening. And yeah, that's enough for me today. Saltea Kichee, everyone, and ciao. Bye-bye.